Hey guys, it's Jessica from Peace Love Books, and today I'm here with some more hate to love romances. I've done this twice before, so I'll link both of those down below. One's named Enemies to Lovers, one's named Hate to Love, and I named this one Hate to Love because they're not necessarily enemies. There's just a little bit of animosity between them. They kind of get on each other's nerves and then start falling for each other. So there's nothing extreme hate about this except for maybe one, but I'm gonna go ahead and get to these hate to love romances. So the first one I just finished on audio on Thursday, and it is Getting Schooled by Christina C. Jones. This one is our main character Reese, who is a graduate assistant for her mother. The beginning starts out with her reading this essay, and she's really impressed by it, but she doesn't know the names on the essays because she reads them to proof them before her mother ends up getting the final copy, and so she's really intrigued by this person who wrote it, and then she kind of butts heads with one of the students in her mother's class. His name's Jason, and she ends up figuring out he's the one who wrote the essay, and they start seeing each other a lot more around. And so the hate isn't necessarily hate, they just more don't get along and then kind of are really enamored with each other. And in the beginning she's got a boyfriend, so she's like, I know he's extremely attractive, but I have a man right now and I cannot deal with that. And so I really enjoyed this. I love the academic setting that they were both in college, but they're both a little older. She's 26 and I think he's a little older as well, so I really like that, and it's a really fun romance. I really enjoyed it. The next one is a historical romance, and that is Lady Sophia's Lover by Lisa Kleypas. This one is our main character, Sophia. She wants to get a job working for Sir Ross Cannon, I believe, yes, and he runs the Bow Street Runners, which are a bunch of pretty much like, not the police, but they keep order around town, and she ends up getting his assistant position, and she's very persuasive trying to get it because he doesn't want to hire a woman, and she says she really wants it, and it's because she's trying to like ruin his life because he is the reason why her brother is in jail, or her brother died. I think it was because of her brother died. I think he like went to jail and died, and she's out for revenge, and so she's working for him, really hating him, but they have extreme chemistry and just can't keep their hands off of each other. And so the animosity didn't last too long in this one, which, as I know, is some people didn't like it as much because she got over her hate for him pretty quickly, but she does start the book absolutely detesting him and wanting to get close to him to ruin his life. So it's a really fun historical romance. I really enjoyed this one. The next one I have to recommend is Captain by Lauren Rowe. This is book 2 in the series. They can be read as standalones. I read them completely out of order, and this one was adorable. So our main character is Ryan, and him and Tessa instantly are attracted to each other, but she is dressed up as a flight attendant with her friend to try to meet guys, even though she's not a flight attendant. She meets him, they're instantly super attracted to each other, and she really likes him, but she has a huge problem with cheaters, and his recent ex storms in and says that they're still dating and gets really angry that he's cheating on her even though he's not. So they instantly are just like, Tessa is like, wow, you're a jerk, I would never ever date a cheater, and it instantly writes him off. And then they have to both go to a wedding that's a destination wedding. It's associated with Tessa's work, and it's part of Ryan's family, and then they both see each other there, and they're like, and she still thinks she hates him. They kind of have to get over it. It's destination wedding, which I thought was really fun. I love the Morgan brothers family. Ryan was awesome. I really loved Tessa's character. So this was a really fun, like, they hate each other because of miscommunication, and they did not understand correctly what had happened, and so they kind of have to get over that. But this was a lot of fun. If you like rom-coms, I think you would love Lauren Rowe's writing. The next book I have is another Christina C. Jones book, and that is I Think I Might Love You, and this one was pretty short. I want to say it was like 100 pages, but I just love Christina C. Jones now, and I figured out my library has like 9 of her audiobooks, so I know what I'm going to be listening to over the next few weeks. This one is about Jacqueline, and she is down on her luck and got in trouble with the law. So she went to her sister's apartment, and her sister's subletting her apartment and didn't tell her. So she gets off on the wrong foot with Caden, who's living there, and he doesn't like her, and they kind of like are embarrassed about what happened, and so she doesn't want to like even talk to him. And then she has to serve community service and ends up doing it at a vet's office, and he's the veterinarian. And so it's super cute. I really love how he's a veterinarian, and she also like needs help with her an animal she ends up finding, and she's just someone who is really down on her luck and is just kind of struggling with life right now. And so it's really fun. The chemistry is through the roof. I really love that. They banter phenomenally, and if you like a couple that banters while they hate each other, I think you would love this. Again, this is really just a fun romance that I really enjoyed, so if you want something where they get off on the wrong foot, just like with Captain, I think you would really love this book. Then I have another historical romance, and this one is Sea of Ruin by Pam Godwin, and our main character is a pirate captain, and she is married. So in the beginning we get when she's a child and how she ends up becoming a pirate captain. Then we fast forward. She's been married for years to this guy, but he totally betrayed her, and she hasn't really spoken to him, and he's back, and so she really puts him through the ringer, and it's really funny what she does to him, and she's making him work for it. He has to grovel to get back with her, but then she gets kidnapped by a pirate hunter named Ashley. He's a Commodore, and is kidnapped by him, and so she goes through really bad things. There's trigger warnings for sexual assault, rape, violence. It's dark. This is a dark historical romance, but in this one, when she's kidnapped by Ashley, he does put her through the ringer because he hates pirates. He's going to take her to be hung for being a pirate captain, and ends up kind of falling for her and hates himself for falling for her. There is a scene in here that made me give it 4 stars because he forcefully did something to her without her consent, which I did not like, but she has a romance with her husband, whom she hates, and also the Commodore, whom she hates. So this is definitely very hate to love, especially on Ashley's part too, because he's really angry that he likes her because of everything he stands for. Like, he's supposed to be taking her to be killed. So it's really good. There's so much angst in here because of the hate, and if you are okay with those triggers, I would definitely recommend this. I absolutely loved it so much. The next one, I don't know if I would necessarily say it's hate, but our main character wants to kill the love interest for a good majority of this, and that is The Shadows Between Us by Trisha Levenseller. This is fantasy, but this one I loved so much, and it's a standalone, and our main character wants to become queen so that she can kill the king and just like rule herself. And so she sets out to seduce him. She does. He's very intrigued by her. She more like sets out and starts to like ignore him, and he's like, wait, why is there this woman who's just like doesn't care about me, and invites her back to the palace. And there's magic in here. It is fantasy, so he has a certain secret that could really end up killing him, and she ends up learning about it, and she ends up having to like save him, and she's like, I'm the one who's gonna kill him, not you. And so she has to like protect him while plotting his death. So it was so good. I loved this so much. It was definitely a slow start, but the romance in here was great. I really love fantasy romances. It was pretty quick too, and the fact that I really love the secret about him. She ended up really liking him, and she was just a very like power hungry, strong woman, and I love that in here, that she would stop at nothing to be the most powerful. Really love that. So this is really fun that I would recommend checking out. This one I say for last because I feel like everybody and their mother has read it, but I still want to recommend it, and I personally loved it, and that is Beach Read by Emily Henry. This one is between 2 writers. January really hates Gus, and it's because they were pretty much rivals in college, and everything seemed to come easy to him, and he's a bestseller. She's struggling writing romance because her father passed away, and she realized that their marriage between her father and her mother was kind of a sham, and it's what inspired her to write romance. And so she goes to her father's beach house to clean it out. Gus lives next door. They write together, and I really liked how they started enjoying each other. She was very standoffish at first from him, didn't want anything to do with him, hated how he always showed up everywhere, and then they started writing together, and like they would write and look at each other through the windows of their beach houses. It was adorable. I was grinning like a fool, and then it did turn serious, so people didn't like how serious it was, and it was kind of more fiction than romance. I thought it was great. I absolutely loved it. January is grieving over her father's death though, and Gus is researching a cult, which I thought was a really interesting aspect because they would go on like writing dates together to research for their respective genres. So they would go research for his genre and then research like dates for her romances. Super adorable. I absolutely love this. 5 out of 5 stars to me. So if you like what I like, I think you would love this, but I do know there are some people who really were not fans of this, but I liked it. And those are some hate to love, or more just like some dislike to love romances that I think you guys would enjoy. And check out my other 2 videos if you're like, well, this book wasn't on the list. That's because I've done this twice already, so these are just more recent reads of mine that are on here. But let me know down below your favorite hate to love romances, and that's all I have. As always, thank you so much for watching, and have a good day. Bye.